Haley Jane here with Kaitaku. It is time for another monthly wrap-up. So the month of November, I actually read a lot of books. I'm very proud of myself. I got a couple of series finished, and so I did a lot more reading than I have in past months, and so I'm pretty excited to share all of those reads with you guys. So first, my digital reads. I read My Boss's Kitten, Volume 7. And Volume 7 is the end. So My Boss's Kitten is done. It is a josei. It is a smut josei. There is lots and lots of smut. And so it is done and finished. And I'm kind of glad I read it. It was cute. It was adorable. But, you know, not the most plot-heavy thing in the world. The second thing that I read was Our Fake Marriage Volume 4. So Our Fake Marriage Volume 4 has actually become one of the ones that I'm really liking. I didn't know if I was going to like it as much. I figured it was going to be another one of those like smut-ish sort of stories. But I mean, it took 4 volumes for us to get any smut. So it actually has turned out to be a pretty good story. This is one of those fake marriages that turn into, you know, a slow burn, start to dating sort of situation. So I'm very excited. I really love stories like that. So it is going well, and I will be keeping reading that as it comes out. And then the last thing that I read digitally was Craving a King, a African royal romance. And so this was the book that was picked by my local book club. And we actually had a Zoom book club meeting with the author. And after getting a chance to listen to her and her backstory and how she planned out the story, I ended up buying the other 2 volumes. Well, I bought the second volume and then I pre-ordered the third, which is coming out in January. It is a romance. I love romance stories. And it is got some steamy scenes in there, so I really enjoyed that book as well. It started off kind of slow for me, like I didn't really enjoy it at the beginning, and then about a third of the way through, I was like, oh, what's happening next, what's happening next, what's happening next? So thoroughly enjoyed that one. So as far as physical books go, I started Gravitation. So I read Gravitation Volume 1 and 2, and I am buddy reading Gravitation with Bizarre Individual and Sky. You can check out Bizarre Individual's channel. They do a lot of live streams together, and so Gravitation and watching the anime was one of the series that they did, and I just needed to read the manga after watching their live stream. So the 3 of us are buddy reading this series. So next, I started Wild Adapter during the Manga Freakathon, and I will link up here to the Manga Freakathon if you're interested in that vlog and seeing all the my thoughts in the beginning of the series, as well as the different things that I read for that. And so I ended up finishing the series. So I read Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6. And I got to Volume 6 all to find out that is all that's been printed in English, but the series continued. The series took a hiatus for a long time, but there is more, and now I just have to sit here and hope and pray that one day I get the rest of the volumes in English, because it was amazing. Like, it is such a good series. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite mangaka of all time, and so he definitely did not disappoint with this series. And so I really just hoping and praying I get more volumes, but I highly doubt that, because the last time, you know, a volume was published was when Tokyo Pop was reigning supreme. So we're probably gonna have to like give up those hopes and dreams. Another series that I finished this month was The Demon Prince of Momochi House. And for some strange reason, I didn't put these in order, so I think we're gonna go backwards. So, final volume, Volume 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, I can math, 7, and volume 6. So I had previously read volumes 1 through 5 at various times throughout this since I started. And so that is it. The series is complete. The series is done. I would love to do a separate video solely on the Demon Prince of Momochi House. And so since it was the first manga that I ever did a first impression of, I kind of want to do like a final impression wrap-up video on how I felt about that. So I'm not going to talk too much in detail about it because I'd love to do that video separately, but I did enjoy it. It was an adorable shoujo all the way to the end, and so I would recommend it, especially since it is now complete. In addition to finishing that, I read for the B2 Weird Book Club Black Sun. And Black Sun was amazing. I will link up here to my review that I did on Black Sun. It is such a good book and is definitely one of my top reads of the year. I enjoyed it from page 1 all the way to the end, and I cannot wait until we find out about book 2. Back to manga, I read Honey Darling. Honey Darling is a BL. It is a one-shot. I've been really into like animals bringing people together recently. And so this is one of those stories where he finds a stray cat and doesn't know how to take care of it. So he ends up meeting this vet, and then somehow they end up living together. And, you know, it's like him taking in his own stray cat. So this was an adorable series. It's a one shot, so it's one and done, but I really, really enjoyed it. Next is Tori-tan Birds of a Feather. Tori-tan Birds of a Feather was recommended to me by Blurty Otome on her blog and her Instagram. She gave it rave reviews, and so I picked it up, and it did not disappoint. It is so good. It's a little bit of an age gap. And we know how I feel about age gaps. Buddy's 18, so I guess we'll let it slide, but it's a pretty broad age gap. It's like a 30-year-old and 18-year-old. But it is absolutely adorable, especially considering our 30-year-old is the more shyer, skittish one, and our 18-year-old is our serious one. So I'm excited for volume 2 and can't wait for that to come out. Next, we have got Coyote Volume 2. So glad that I started this series. It is by the same mangaka that did Liquor and Cigarettes. And then they have another manga that just came out, The Birds of Shangri-La, which I have ordered and cannot wait to get in. Coyote Volume 2 was great. I enjoyed seeing the story kind of start to reach a mini climax. We've finally got like our first conflict between the two main characters, especially considering one's a werewolf and one's a human. And we're starting to get that first conflict between them and trying to see how they're going to resolve it. So volume 3 comes out in January, I believe. So I cannot wait to pick volume 3 up and continue reading this. Next, I read Cast Heaven volume 3. I still just don't know if I like this. I don't dislike it, which is why I keep reading it, but there's so many things that make me uncomfortable in it constantly. Like the amount of just non-con is just rampant everywhere, and it makes me uncomfortable. However, the character dynamics, as well as looking at, this it's like a study of the human psyche, like what happens when you put in this type of hierarchy and how students behave in it. So it's interesting in that respect, but there's a lot of things that make me uncomfortable and a lot of things that I kind of could do without. But we did volume 3. I have volume 4. I usually try to give things about 3-ish volumes before I decide if I'm going to keep going, and so we shall see. Next, we have got Something's Wrong with Us, Volume 3. I am really enjoying this josei. It's a little shoujo for a josei, but it is kind of dark, and I am enjoying exploring the darkness. We've got our heroine here, and her mother was accused by our hero of murdering his father, and so she has now come back for revenge. And we are seeing the dynamic and whether or not he's going to figure out who she is as she's trying to hide her identity from her. And then there are people in the house that want her gone. And he is battling for his place to be the head of the family's sweet shop and taking that over. And his grandfather doesn't want him to for various reasons. So there's a lot of dynamics in here that I'm really enjoying. And it is a lot darker than your normal typical josei or shoujo, and so that I'm enjoying as well. Cannot wait to read more. I also read volumes 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, volumes 2 and 3 of Sweat and Soap. Sweat and Soap, amazing. Like, I cannot recommend this series enough. I've heard nothing but great things about it on MangaTube. It is such a good josei. They are an extremely healthy couple. They communicate, they talk to each other. Anytime they have fears or insecurities, they address them together. It is awesome. There is smut. We love smut. There's a little bit of smut in there. And so, I knew it. Haha. I did read volume 4. So I also read volume 4. So 2, 3, and 4 for this month. Loved it. Very happy. Cannot wait for more of this series. I also read, along the lines of smut, Fire in His Fingertips, volume 2, which is great. It is by 7 Seas, or published by 7 Seas. It is smutty, smutty, smut, smut. And it is good smutty, smutty, smut, smut. It is uncensored smutty, smutty, smut, smut. But the plot is halfway decent. I mean, I don't really know if there's like an overarching plot as much as like these two childhood friends interact. It's very slice of life for the plot, like as in there's just not a big one. But that's not what we're here for. So it's doing what we want it to do. Then I read Given Volume 4. Given is definitely one of my favorite series, one of my favorite BLs. It has not made it to top 3 status yet, but it is so good. This volume took a little bit of a dark turn that I was not expecting. I am interested to see how the characters are going to react going forward now that a certain situation has happened, and whether or not the rest of the group will find out. And so the dynamics of their band seem to be shifting as their own personal relationships within the band start to really just kind of make the dynamics a little rocky. So I'm excited to see how they push forward and how we kind of reconcile what's going on with their various group dynamics. And I hope that it continues to be everything that I love and more, because it is such a good story. And last but not least, or at least I think it's last. I think it's last. Last but not least, it's got a long title. Cherry Magic, 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. And this is volumes 1 and volume 2. This is an adorable BL, again, recommended by Blurty Atome. I enjoyed it so much. It's so cute. I was not expecting it to be as cute as it was. It's so interesting. Our main character has turned 30 and he is still a virgin. And still being a virgin at 30, he has now developed the ability to hear what people are thinking. And so he finds out that this guy at his office has a crush on him. And so it is now seeing him kind of decide whether or not does he actually like him or not, or does he actually like his coworker or not, or is it just because he's hearing all his coworkers' thoughts and seeing the two of them interact and seeing whether or not they're going to get together. And so this was a good series. I cannot wait for volume 3. So as you can see, that was a lot of manga. A lot of manga, a lot of books, a lot of digital books. I read a little bit of everything and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I hope that you all enjoyed this wrap up for the month of November. What have you been reading? I know 25 days of manga is going on. I am participating. Are you all participating? What are you reading? I would love to know because I am always looking to add books to my TBR. So make sure that you like, subscribe. I am finding a time to do my 500 subscriber live stream. I am almost at 600 now, so I guess we'll do a 600 subscriber celebration. It's just everything's a little crazy with work, and so I'm trying to find the perfect time with the holidays and all of that to go on so that I can spend some time with you all live. So hopefully that'll happen soon. If you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram because that is where I kind of post my polls or questions or anything related to the channel in my stories. So I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and we will see you next time. Bye. Shake.